All right. Welcome to another edition of Vegas Badboyz of podcasting. I'm your host, DJ Impact, and I got a couple of the Vegas Badboyz here with me. We got Sin City Steve back this time. You know, he was on this staycation or jobcation, whatever one you want to call it. And this time we're missing good old Simon Street. So it's that time of the year. We also got Matt Michaels here. It's good to see you too. A lot's going on. Major pay-per-view happening. AEW Double or Nothing. We're going to get into that in a little bit later. I think the best thing to always do is to kick off with the best wrestling promotion out there, and that is Impact Wrestling. I mean, come on, guys. Let's just keep it real.
Who's their champ?
I got it. You say what?
Who's their champ?
Whatever, dude. Give me the champ for who? Don't get anyone but the world title.
No. Who's the Impact champion? Yeah.
Do they have tag champs anymore? Or did those go to another company?
So
too?
they do have.
Well,
you know what? Let's actually start there.
Wait. Hey, Steve, you know what's going on with New Japan. So, don't be saying that FinJuice is over with the tag titles over there.
Definitely not.
Yep.
Well, listen, the so FinJuice are no longer the Impact Tag Team title holders because that is now owned by Rhino and Joe Doering from Violent by Design. And I got to tell you, it's interesting to choose them too. I will say that they are a powerhouse in the ring. Now, I don't think their names necessarily is going to bring excitement, but in the ring, it's promising to see what they're able to do. So I will say the good thing about having them as champions is now you're at least going to have a tag team, your champions on regularly, and you get to see them. With FinJuice, they were great title holders. The only problem is after they finish their match, they'll cut a promo that went something like this. Hey, and by the way, we'll give you a title shot when we come back 4 weeks from now from going to Japan. Huh?
Don't worry about it, DJ. They'll be back before 4 weeks. Finley walked out. Finley walked out on New Japan, DJ.
Did he?
Yep. So did Ospreay, and so did Jay White.
Wait. I don't know about the Ospreay and the.
Yep. Breaking news, boys.
Wow. Okay. Everybody just leaving, huh? Everyone's all of a sudden just out. What do you think? What do you think of all that? That's out of your curiosity. I mean, what's your take?
I don't care.
You don't. All right, that's fair. Well, nevertheless, so Violent by Design, it seems like they're definitely going to build within that group. Also, though, speaking of New Japan, who did make their appearance onto Impact? I think I can get this name right. Satoshi Kojima. Pretty close, Sin City?
You did.
Okay.
I'm impressed.
All right. So he made entrance onto the show, and he came out, and this was actually at the time where Rhino and Joe Doering, the whole Violent by Design team, was in the ring. He came out, stepped up to Joe Doering, and said 3 words, and I'm assuming he's been practicing for the past 2 to 3 weeks. Against all odds. And of course, that is the next Impact's Impact Plus, I believe, sort of pay-per-view. So I guess there's going to be a match between him and Joe Doering, which after kind of doing a little bit of information on there, first off, I guess Kojima is a 2-time IWGP Heavyweight Champion. So I guess that's saying something right now with that. And apparently, I also read that Kojima and Doering, they said they shared the ring several times. Hold on, I lost my page. Here it is. Several times as part of opposing tag teams, but they only have one singles match on record, and that Kojima successfully defended the AJPW Triple Crown Heavyweight Championship against Doering on January 11th, 2010. So that's their relationship right there. So anyway, you get a chance to see that match at Against All Odds, which will be coming up in a few weeks. But that happened on the show as well with that. And of course, the major thing is everything is still leading up to the number one contenders match, which is number one contender is already Moose. He's the one that's going to be going up against Kenny Omega. But they're running this storyline right now with Sami Callihan, where apparently Omega and Don Callis, or apparently they're really kind of scared of Sami Callihan. They're really afraid of him, which is why they wanted Moose, because Moose is predictable. Okay, his move of doing the spear, that's something you can prepare for, or Rich Swan's frog splash, that's something you can prepare for. But with Sami Callihan, you don't know how to prepare for a match like that, because he comes in all different types of ways. Hey, which you shaking your head, Sin City, you agree, right?
Dude, Sami Callihan is extremely unpredictable, and he's always been that way.
Right.
No matter the organization that he's been with, whether he's been on the Indies, even in NXT for the cup of coffee that he had with them. I mean, Sami Callihan is extremely unpredictable, and he's an amazing character worker. And anything that he tends to be involved with, he puts absolutely everything that he has behind it. Yeah. And he is one of those people that I enjoy watching from Impact for sure.
No doubt. So that's what they're running right now. And so they're having this sort of a beef between Sami and Moose. Moose is already number one, but Sammy's trying to prove to Moose that, look, dude, you don't need to be in that position because you will lose. You will lose just because you're predictable. So I don't know where they're going to go with this. I'm sure they're just buying time until the actual pay-per-view happened between Moose and Kenny Omega. But it is a pretty interesting storyline that they're running right now with that. So other than that, that's really all that was on Impact. There were some other matches and things, but overall, that's kind of where this week's went. So I don't know. We'll see. Let's jump over into, I guess, what everybody really want to talk about. NXT. Why don't we go there, man? Let's see what's your take, Matt Michaels, from this past Wednesday. Oh no, they're not Wednesday, right?
Tuesday.
Are they Wednesday? Yeah, okay.
Tuesday.
Gotcha. Tuesday. That just shows you, man. I've been working so much, man. I get confused on all these damn days, man.
Every day bleeds together, brother. Every day bleeds together.
It does. It's hard, man. Thank God DirecTV keeps it all up for me, because I don't know. All right, brother. Kick it off. What's going down?
We'll keep it short and sweet. We got Frankie Monet's first appearance in the ring. She went out there and wrestled Cora Jade, and was everything it needed to be. Just a buildup of kind of a squash type of match to establish the character a little bit more. We still have Indy Hartwell and Dexter Lumis budding relationship happening, so that's gonna be a nice little thing going forward, especially now that Dexter apparently drew a room full of drawings with his heart being pierced with a dagger. which was brilliant.
Yeah.
Imagine, walking into your house one day and seeing that in your house and realizing that you didn't mean to break the heart, but you did.
Yeah, that could be pretty
I can't wait till he needs to like kidnap her and eat her or something, right?
Jesus.
I don't think she'd be opposed, right? I mean, she'd kind of like being eaten out by
Oh, you mean
hello.
What? What are you thinking?
Okay, hey, you never know with you, Mankles. You just never know.
I just saying, you don't know. Bronson Reed, we get to see that Santos Escobar is stepping up to Bronson Reed. So I think that you're going to see the belt probably on Bronson for a while, I would assume.
I would hope so. I really like Bronson
for a little bit.
Yeah. I'm a big fan of him. They've developed him just well, just from how he started to where he's at now. What a great build on him and his character. And I'm just I'm one of the ones that's I could definitely see him being I could see him being a WWE champion at some point. So I hope they continue. I know it's kind of not too quick. You want to go there, but just the potential. I kind of see it can happen further down, but I see it there.
So how's Keith Lee doing on the main roster right now?
I know.
Right? That's
right. That's
unfortunate.
True.
That's
Is that Keith Lee's fault? Or is that the people behind the scenes
No, we don't know for sure, but it's hinted that it's medical issues. But because there was something that came out this week, some kind of, I believe it was a tweet that he basically said that when the time's right, he'll explain everything.
Oh, boy.
So something's going on.
Yeah. Damn, okay.
Maybe he might do it on an episode of Dynamite.
He could. He could when he's coming out with Kip Saban as his best friend, and so the exciting we think we're getting a confrontation between DiBiase and Grimes, and we think, based on the rumors going around, that it looks like maybe Grimes will become the $1 million champion. And then, of course, the curveball is thrown, and Eli Knight looks like LA Knight, looks like he's going to be possibly the protege of the $1 Million Man now.
Yeah.
Which is a smart move.
Yeah.
Which is a smart move. So
I think one thing that they actually did extremely well in that segment was if you look at what they did with this pairing prior to this week, everything was from the angle of DiBiase coming across as a babyface and Grimes coming across as a heel. They did a really good job of completely flipping the script and executing a double turn perfectly. You have Grimes now as a babyface, and you have DiBiase as a heel. It extremely well done. I love to give WWE and NXT shit when they do things wrong, but I have to point out when they do things extremely well. This was done extremely well.
Yeah. And it gives something for LA Knight to do. As we've seen the path that they just didn't seem to have a straightforward path yet. And now it looks like they probably will, until we find out that that's not the plan. And we're totally, it's changed again. But the big thing, that Balor and Cross match was just fucking impeccable.
Oh yeah.
Looks like most likely Balor will probably be heading back to the main roster. I think.
Yeah.
That recently he's spoken on how he'd like to, the time's right for him to go back up there. I think too at this point, why not bring him up and add an influx into Raw. Don't put him on SmackDown. Put him on SmackDown.
Yeah.
I mean, the only thing you can do on SmackDown is either have him then in the IC picture, which cuts him down again, or feed him to Roman and have that end after 3 months,
Right.
Put him in Raw and see if you can get traction out of him. Listen, he just worked Cross. He's a big guy.
Yeah.
Why not have him wrestle Lashley? Because apparently there's no one else on the roster that can wrestle Lashley. So, but that begs to differ too. Right now, what are you going to do with Cross in the meantime? You've got to build up to Kyle O'Reilly. You can't just put it together quick. So they have to have, I think, another person coming in this moment to be kind of that feeder to maybe take it to the takeover before SummerSlam. I think that probably would be the smartest thing to do, and then build up O'Reilly versus Cross for SummerSlam. And then who knows when they see, the idea of bringing up Cross either. So that Finn and Cross match basically closed the door, I think, for a better word, to that chapter. And now we're about to see what the next the next thing is.
Hey, Chris did mention, he says, Balor versus McIntyre would be interesting as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah, but, they both are, Scottish guys who dress up in face paint, right? Oh, I'm sorry. Drew's Irish and Finn's Scottish, right? Well, they're basically the same, right? Scots and Irish, they're the same, right?
They're in Europe. There you go.
DJ, you don't know what I'm doing, but I'm purposely sandbagging every single person from Scotland and Ireland now, and we probably are going to get hate mail from those people.
Just remember, always at Matt Michaels. Just always go ahead and at him, and it'll be all right.
Oh, I get all my information from Simon Street. So you guys just hit up Simon Street.
There you go.
I wouldn't wish that on anyone.
Right. Cool. Was there anything else, man, you want to knock out there from the show, or?
Just one point that I had.
Yeah,
I thought that it was extremely interesting. Also, I thought they planted some seeds with having Frankie Monet hit the Glam Slam and dispatch of her opponent. And I again, picking up on subtle nuances, after the match was over, you kind of saw Frankie look over to where Beth Phoenix was on commentary. So I think that they're planting some seeds. Hopefully they're planting some seeds. I personally would like to see something like that. Have Frankie Monet wrestle a match against Beth Phoenix. I think that they could, they could have a great match.
What?
Hey, wait, you're selling it short. You're thinking in the short, the macro there. Let's think of the big picture here. Frankie Monet and John Morrison versus Beth Phoenix and Edge.
There you go.
There's a moneymaker right there.
There you go, dude. I'd be down to see that shit. I would.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah. Well, cool.
Yeah, amazing match by Cross and Balor. You hit the nail on the head. So I didn't really feel the need to add a whole bunch, but definitely.
Yeah, you knew what you were going to get even weeks out. I mean, it was And shout out, we see Jade is on, and every time we mention the word Edge, it's a trigger name for her. She's we love you, Jade. We know your dislike for good old Edge. All right, so let's man. How's that double or nothing looking over there, man? You want to tackle that or?
So it just wrapped up. Okay. Obviously, the main show ended up coming up just shy of 4 hours. Plus, you had a match on the buy-in pre-show. All in all, very, very solid night for AEW. And can I just say how awesome it really is watching wrestling with a full house and a rabid house? Like, this crowd was hot. They were singing along with entrance themes. They were, for all intents and purposes, they really, really helped the show. I don't think that there was any time during the night where the crowd detracted from any of the matches going on, which can tend to happen. And sometimes you'll have crowds that are out to put themselves over and things like that. This crowd really, they were just hot for everything. They weren't doing a bunch of chants, trying to get themselves over. It all started with the buy-in pre-show. Serena Deeb defended the NWA Women's Championship against Riho. That went 14 minutes. Solid match. And it's good to see them continuing to try to prioritize a women's division and build a women's division. I think we all know that their women's division is not on the level of WWE or NXT or anything like that, but they are planting seeds for that. And, if they
seeds for that, dude, it's going to take them at least 5 years to fucking build anything close. Come on, planting seeds. You just said that you just made it sound like they just took leaps and bounds and it was on the fucking pre-show.
I know. All right. Anyway, Matt Michaels, it's good to see you again, by the way.
Oh,
yeah. Anyway, main
just
show
started.
Yeah. Main show got started with Brian Cage versus Adam Page. To my chagrin, there was not, Ethan Page, and this match wasn't fought inside of a steel cage, but it was a pretty solid match. The thing that really stood out to me with this was just how much of an amazing reaction Hangman Page got when he stepped out onto the stage at the start. And this guy, whatever kind of booking stuff that they're going through with him, they've definitely been spinning their wheels with this guy. Just put the rocket on his back. Like, obviously you're carrying out your storyline with Omega. I get it. But this guy should be performing at a very high position on the card on a regular basis. And it was a solid match. 12 minutes, Hangman Page gets the win after a buckshot lariat. After the match, more dissension between Team Taz as Brian Cage shoved Hook, and he tried to mix it up with Ricky Starks. Obviously, Ricky Starks has the best up neck, so he can't do a whole lot. And it was interesting. So obviously that has completely fractured at this point. Brian Cage looking to branch out from Team Taz in the next coming weeks.
Until next week when he joins Team Taz again in the middle of the ring.
Oh yeah. Well, dude, if I sat here and broke down every single time that there were, booking inaccuracies and things that change from time to time with the other brand, the other company that's out there, then it would be over an hour and a half of me just talking about that shit.
Yeah, but you know what? 40 years of that is acceptable, because you're gonna see that shit happen, especially when you're doing, 8 programs on TV where they have, I don't know, one major program and then a couple of internet shows. So yeah, I guess the continuity on WWE, God forbid. But AEW, when you have your family and friends cheering for Hangman Page when he comes through at the full audience that I'm sure paid full price to get in.
You know, Chris said it best. Am I the only one that expects Steve to drill Michaels from behind with a steel chair during Steve's weekly AEW segment, #heel turn? I agree with that. I think it's about to happen. Let's get ready for it.
Turn me face.
Yeah, that I was gonna say. I can't turn Michael's face. He hates everybody, and everybody hates him. It wouldn't work.
Yeah. All right, man. Good going.
Yeah. Young Bucks versus Moxley and Kingston. This match was what it needed to be. I will say this. I was on the fence with them changing up Moxley's entrance music. I thought that it was like going to be a once-off thing. I speculated that on the show, that just when he was, only defending the New Japan championships or whatever, that he would enter Onita's type music, to an updated version of Onita's music, I should say. But no, they continued with the Wild thing, and I was on the fence, but hearing an entire crowd screaming at the top of their lungs Wild thing, I was sold. I was completely fine with it. It accomplished what it needed to accomplish. And yeah, obviously to no one's surprise, the Young Bucks retained the championships in 21 minutes. Pretty solid match. It was like I said, it was what it needed to be. So there's that. Then we had the Casino Battle Royale. Obviously they had the 4 groups of 5 guys that came out. And then we had the Joker. So nothing really of note until the Joker entrant, which just so happened to be Lio Rush. So Lio Rush now in the mix in AEW. So
that's why Sean made that comment. I was like, hey, Sean. So Sean just said, Lio Rush debuting makes me love wrestling so much right now. Some great things happening with some companies working together. Some not so great things as well. But this generation will see some matches that we didn't get a chance to growing up. Yeah. So, all right, Lio Rush now in the mix. So that's awesome. He did not win the Casino Battle Royale, and was somewhat unceremoniously dumped out by Matt Hardy. So I'm hoping that
Dude, how can you defend this shit, man?
Hear me out. Okay, so a guy makes his debut and gets eliminated by an older talent. Okay, well, obviously, then that's going to springboard into some sort of an angle, and you just have to assume that Lio Rush goes over, and Matt Hardy is the first feud to help establish Lio Rush with AEW. Like I said, or so we can hope.
So Matt Hardy's going to try to sign him to the Matt Hardy brand. What the fuck, man?
Dude, whatever. So in any event, it ended up coming down to Christian and Jungle Boy as the final 2. Oh. And Jungle Boy actually dispatched Christian and won the Casino Battle Royale. So that's pretty awesome to see. And that guarantees Jungle Boy a future AEW World Championship match. Before the end of the show, they announced that championship match would take place in 2 weeks on Dynamite. So, yeah.
So why the fuck do they have the Battle Royal?
To get the next challenger for Omega, who will obviously lose to Omega. Man. Yeah. So there's that. It was after this that they had a and again, crowds singing along with the theme songs worked extremely well here. Jungle Boy came out obviously to Tarzan Boy by Baltimora, but the band that nobody's ever heard of, because they were a classic 80s one-hit wonder. But in any event, yeah, I see what they're doing again with the entrance theme, getting people to sing it. I like
karaoke with AEW.
Dude, that's what it is. That's what it is. Anthony Ogogo was up next against Cody Rhodes. Now, we could say how this match should have gone, and then we can talk about how this match actually ended. They had such a prime opportunity to boost Anthony Ogogo, to put him over,
right,
and to make him look like $1 million.
Right. I mean, this guy can take you down with one punch to the stomach, or maybe to the face. You get one of those, it's a wrap.
It's a wrap. Even though,
well, no, I was going to say, you said face. Cody Rhodes has a goddamn fucking bullseye tattooed on his neck.
Right.
Exactly.
Just hit him right there.
The crazy thing is, he hit him a couple of times in the match, and it didn't result in a pinfall, which strange, because if you've been watching AEW TV and you see Anthony Ogogo come out and he punches Cody in the ribs once, and it's like as if the guy got shot with a damn gun. He's down for 20 minutes. Yeah.
That's why you got to be careful when you do stuff like that, because if you're going to build somebody up to a point where you're making it, you can't then have the match against somebody of importance, and now because they take that hit, somehow it doesn't affect them.
Yeah, well, you know what? Ethan Page is the loser here, because obviously all ego in AEW is Cody Rhodes.
That's a mic drop. I mean, I can't follow that with anything.
Sad. It's sad.
So, realistically speaking, I mean, they had a prime opportunity. Yes, Ogogo looked somewhat green in the ring, but he didn't have any spots in the match where he embarrassed himself. Like, he didn't have any blown spots, any mistiming issues, anything that was off. It was a very solid match on his behalf. Unfortunately, Cody Rhodes picks up the win, but not with the Crossroads. For some reason, Cody Rhodes opted to bust out the Vertebreaker. What? I guess he has to flesh out his moveset for the video game. I mean, that's the only thing that I can figure. What the fuck? The thing is, you could definitely tell that the crowd was not happy with this match either. Before we went on the air, Matt Michaels, if you want to share with the audience, I guess that you had somebody that you were talking to that said the exact same thing.
Yeah. You know what? Match, the entrances, everything at the beginning of the match is just so hyped up, and the crowd is so into it. And by the end, the wind just fucking went right out of the sails, because why? Why?
Yeah. And unfortunately, I think that's what everybody, that's the way that a lot of people felt. I saw a lot of pushback on social media after the match too.
Well, look, Chris did say this. He says, Cody's got to look strong and go over for the future child. Long-term booking. This time next year, Cody's kid is going over -1 for a future title. There you go, Chris. I'm going to go with that. I believe that's what it is.
Bro, that's not out of the realm of possibility.
Right.
Seriously. Great call on that. I will say this. Something else that kind of added to it was immediately before this match, of course, they were marketing this match for whatever reason as the US versus the UK. And immediately before this match, they had a great tribute to military vets, active duty service members, things of that nature, which I'm completely fine with. If you've watched the show ever, you know that one of the things that I constantly do in, the final wrap-up segment is I thank the troops. I thank those serving this country. But so that happened. Then this match started. You don't have anything to worry about at that point by having the evil foreigner go over the American patriot. you do your segment where you bring out real life heroes. They did have a couple of service members on the stage, and okay, great. You pay tribute, you do great things. I'm completely on board with that. So then that, in essence, gives you a free pass to have the American Patriot lose the match, because it will mitigate some of the heat. And all signs pointed one direction, and they go completely in the opposite direction. I don't know where they're going with this, but it's really getting to be frustrating.
You know, that baby's coming straight out of Brandy's crotch, and Cody's just going to pin the kid right away to show him who's actually boss.
Got to start the kid. Got to start the kid with the right.
Or we could go with, or we could go with what Sean said. Sean says Cody needs to bring in Disco Inferno for his kid to beat him at a younger age than Hardy's kid did.
That's so true.
Hey, let's get it going.
They got the working relationship with Impact Wrestling. So, Sean, if that fucking happens, it's your fault.
And now wait and see. It'll probably happen.
Right.
Moving on. Miro versus Lance Archer for the TNT title. This was a pretty solid match. I mean, you had two guys beating the shit out of each other. It was a 10-minute match. Miro won in 10 minutes via ref stoppage. Long story short, Miro put Archer into the game over camel clutch, and he refused to tap. But then Miro wrenched back and did the modified version that he did to win the TNT championship from Darby Allin. And Archer passed out. So that way they did at least somewhat protect him. Yeah. You do have to give props.
Happy birthday, Jake Roberts.
I was going to say, you have to give props to Jake Roberts for taking an ass kicking from Miro and having his snake bag thrown across the arena, which obviously you knew that there wasn't an actual snake in the bag. It wasn't moving around, but of course, you know, what's in the bag. That was always the biggest mystery thing with Jake Roberts, is which, you know, what snake is going to be in the bag, or, you know, sometimes like how many snakes, whatever. But the thing is, Miro picked up the bag after he knocked Jake on his ass, and he threw the fucking bag across the arena.
By chance, did Peter have a message anywhere during the show?
Nope.
Pop. Okay, I was curious.
Nope. Not at all. Not at all.
But really, were we really supposed to think that there was a snake in that bag, since the earthquake actually sat on Damien back 30 years ago? So
the thing is, they didn't mention anything on commentary about there being a snake in the bag. They just mentioned that he brought that bag with him. So it's playing up to what wrestling fans know, that, hey, this is Jake the Snake. He's got a sealed up, tied up bag. So there's probably a snake in the bag. So yeah, whatever.
maybe
that was interesting.
Kid.
Oh, Jesus. Next was Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, versus Hikaru Shida for the AEW Women's Championship. 17-minute match. Both women gave it everything that they had. Very, very, very solid match. And we have a new AEW Women's Champion, as Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, made Shida tap out to the lockjaw. And yeah, I mean, it was barring a couple of things that were, how should we say, things that people may have to look the other way for. Mispositioning on behalf of the ref, Paul Turner. He point blank saw Rebel hit Dr. Britt Baker with the crutch. Obviously, she was attempting to hit Shida. So, you know, of course, with that being said, if Turner was calling it as he saw it, then technically he should have disqualified Shida, match over. So you botched the entire finish by changing that. So in the event, in the end, I should say, Baker used the new AEW Women's Championship belt, the bigger version, obviously, and hit Shida over the head with it, gave her a curb stomp on the top of it, threw it out of the ring, ended up locking on the lockjaw, and Shida tapped out. So, yes, there were a couple of things there, but all in all, it was a fun match more than anything. From there, we had the Sting and Darby Allin versus Scorpio Sky and Ethan Page match. These guys were put into a really...
Was this the bathroom break match? Or?
This was the bathroom break match. So they were put in a really compromising and unfortunate position, in my opinion.
At this point, isn't every match Sting is in a bathroom break match for him?
So here's the thing is, if you go back and you watch this match, Michaels, dare I say, you may even be impressed with how Sting did look in the ring. Okay. Obviously, I'm not saying that he was like setting the world on fire or anything crazy, but Sting being 60 years old in that ring, you just have to figure that, you know, he's not really going to do much of anything in the match. That was not the case at all.
And you know, after watching Dynamite and realizing that Scorpio Sky couldn't tell that was Sting under a Sting match, yeah, great. I'm glad that he could wrestle at 60.
Yeah. Anyway, Sting, the blue chipper newcomer, gets the pin by pinning Scorpio Sky, that well-established veteran that doesn't need the win. Death drop after 13 minutes. Okay.
All right.
So yes, I've talked about how Sting impressed me, how I thought that he did an extremely good job. This needs to be it for Sting. Sting needs to not have any more in-ring standard matches. I'm cool with him having the cinematic type matches, but yeah,
listen, if Brandy can't wrestle and she's that pregnant, I'm sure Sting, being as pregnant as he is, shouldn't be wrestling either. And that's probably Cody's too.
Oh boy.
Good Lord.
Let's go ahead and let me talk to the producers. We want this clip to be on our TikTok. You got it? Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you. Talking to the producers, we'll make sure we throw that on there. Most importantly, though, Sting. I mean, Sin City Steve has spoken, man. It's a wrap, bro. It's a wrap. Yeah, sorry, man.
I mean, so here's the thing: is I would rather him go out after a match like this than go out after a match where people say, "Oh, well, he shouldn't have been in that match. He shouldn't have wrestled again." This match, I think, is a good one for him to go out on. And it's a high for him to go out on. So I don't see, you know, any kind of a big negative if he was to do such a thing, but who knows? We'll
Steve,
yeah.
I just got a text from Tony Khan. He heard you say hi and he was wondering if there's any Coke available. Throw that on TikTok.
Tony, if you are watching, yeah, we got to talk. We got to talk. All right. So then it was our semi-main event.
Ooh, we're getting close to the end.
Yeah. The semi-main event, Orange Cassidy versus Pac versus Kenny Omega in a 3-way for the AEW World Heavyweight Championship. This match went 27 minutes. The crowd was extremely hot for this entire match up until the very end, when, of course, you had the outside interference shit kick in, as we've known would happen. You had the Good Brothers come out. You had the Young Bucks come out. Of course, Don Callis was out there. Long story short, Don Callis pulls the ref out of the ring as he's making, a solid 2 count, a definitely believable spot to end the match. So the false finish, Don Callis pulling the ref out, prompting the crowd to start an extremely loud and extremely long-lasting "fuck you, Don" chant, which went for a couple of minutes. Now, the thing that I find interesting is we have to say "fuck you, Don," because if you're just typing it out, then the event name is Double or Nothing or Don. So I'm sure they weren't saying "fuck you" to the entire show. They were just saying "fuck you" to Don Callis, or at least I hope.
Right.
No, very, very solid match. I think that.
Yeah, one of the guys in our chat here, Mike, he said earlier during the show, but he said bullshit ending to the title match. So yeah. It was complete bullshit. But I will say this: they did give Orange Cassidy more of a credible attempt to gain the championship than what I thought they would have. There were a couple of times where that easily could have been a true finish. But of course, if we separate ourselves from the storyline and realize that this Kenny Omega story arc is not complete yet, well, and see, they're not going to have him drop the title. And see, that's been my problem. That's what I've been bitching about from the beginning with this. They're sticking to exactly what they said was going to happen, which doesn't make it exciting. Mike just said right now, another Mike, he said, I was super foolish for thinking they may let OC win with a giant pop for the huge crowd. Listen, it's the same thing where I was thinking back when you had Rich Swann. But they've already said what they were going to do, and they're doing exactly that, which says, why should I even care with anything Kenny Omega's in from this point? Because we already know the storyline. Why watch it? That's my whole point from the beginning.
But the bigger problem is not necessarily that they're doing it. They're doing it with making it an uncredible finish. That's the problem. The problem is that we've been watching wrestling for 40 plus years on a national level, and the same thing that's been happening for 40 years is that people are allowed to run down to the ringside, pull a referee out, and there's never any repercussions. So why the fuck do we continue to pay to see that happen? Well, the answer is going to be from the business side of it. Well, the more that the fans are passionate about seeing it finally happen, the bigger build you can have, which is just bullshit. Fans are sick of it. And what's going to be interesting, it's going to be all companies. Are you going to listen to the fans who now you really want to pay to come in to see your events? Or, reminder that before the pandemic started, AEW couldn't sell fucking tickets. And if they continue this, and the loyal fans, because they haven't built any new fans, if the loyal fans start getting pissed off, then that's what's going to start happening. They're going to not sell tickets. And also, does anyone ever know what their buy rate is? Because amazingly enough, the Observer never seems to publish that. They'll say, oh yeah, they drew 1 million views on Dynamite, but what's the pay-per-view buy rates for any of their shows? You never see it. So, I mean, stop doing it. It's not just them. All companies, stop this fucking nonsense of having a schmoz fuck over something that you could just very easily have had a pin happen.
Yep, exactly. Right. And that's the thing is, quite bluntly, they could have had an interference-free match, and this match would have been amazing. That is the only thing that is holding this match back from, being a 5-star match, honestly, is the finish was such shit, and it was so contrived. It was something right out of, Monday Night Wars, Attitude Era, and not the good style. It was in the dying days of WCW.
Nice. Yeah.
So that sucks. And it's becoming a thing where they're doing it nearly every single time that Omega's defending the championship.
Right.
So it's lazy booking is what it is.
I hope when Brandy's having the baby, a schmoz happens. It'd just be karma for the whole Dusty Road schmoz.
We'll see. A schmoz is what got them into this situation. Oh, never mind. Anyway. Announcement time. Yay. So obviously everybody knows about AEW Rampage, the new show that is going to be coming to TNT on Friday nights, immediately after SmackDown is finished, 10 p.m. Yep. It's only going to be 1 hour. Calm down. You'll be fine. And this will get you. This will get you right here. They did announce that one of the analysts that will be on the show and also acting as a coach behind the scenes, or they said acting as a coach. So I'm assuming that that's going to be behind the scenes stuff. I don't know. And then they brought him out.
Yeah.
WWE Hall of Famer, the world's strongest man, Mark Henry.
Wow.
Hey man, I thought out of the names that were out there that were not under WWE deals that are former Hall of Fame or are Hall of Famers. Yeah. I would not have thought Mark Henry as being somebody that they would have targeted to bring into AEW, but I'm not mad about it whatsoever. And in fact, I want to see what he has to say, and you can too. Friday night on Dynamite. There you go. There's the plug. No, they said that he'll have a live mic on Friday on Dynamite in an AEW ring. So
just out of curiosity, do you guys think that WWE, and when I say that, I'm speaking more of the top guys, your Vince, maybe your Steph, Hunter, others been around. When they see that this happened, do you think they really care, or do you think they good? Do you think they go good for him, good for Big Show, good for like they're happy, or do they get upset because of this happening? Where do you think which way they go when they see these names like this appear?
Vince probably still thinks that Mark Henry's on the active roster.
Yeah, he's tag team champs with AJ Styles.
Right.
Okay, all right.
So I mean, that's that. But no, I think that there's definitely a distinction and a generation gap, because you have people like on the Vince side of things that realistically he's a businessman, and I think that he probably feels that they got all of the all of the blood from that stone. And, whatever happens. So supposedly, whenever Big Show went to AEW initially, and, when Paul White started doing the commentary thing, supposedly Vince was cool with it and actually called and wished him well.
Okay.
So
that's always been Vince's. He has always told people from the beginning, if they're going to offer you this, take it.
Yeah.
Because the truth of the matter is if Mark Henry is around, what is he fucking doing for them? Nothing.
Right.
And you want him as your, he's not going to be a commentator for them. And AEW has signed Taz, Big Show, Mark Henry. And all those guys do are talk. And that's it. Who cares? Keep spending the money, TK, though. Keep spending the money.
Right. Yeah.
Do it.
Yeah.
ultimately, I mean, that's what I think. And then obviously you'll have the generation under, so like, Steph and Trips and the people that are mainly filling out the things in NXT. I think that, they legitimately view it as a business, and it is what it is.
Yeah.
I don't think,
Steve, more importantly though, I think we got to get away from thinking about the business of things, because it's not going to be them making the decisions for that aspect. It's going to be the new three-headed monster, the business operations staff, that's going to be making those decisions, because those guys are not active talent.
No, who's actually going to make those decisions? It's going to be a fucking mouse, a cartoon mouse. That's who's going to make the decisions.
Well, but that's what I'm saying. They're already, by putting in place what they're putting in place with Nick Khan and the other two guys. You're already setting that up. The only thing that the McMahon family is going to have anything to do is with storylines and booking, and that's that. And cashing paychecks. Yeah.
And it is what it is, but
I can't wait though until Vince buys the Jaguars.
Jesus. No, what Vince will do is he'll buy a rival football team. He'll buy a different football team in the AFC South. Yes. Yes, that's exactly what he'll do. He'll buy another team just to fucking fuck with them. That's exactly what'll happen. And speaking of the Jaguars, our main event tonight, the Inner Circle versus the Pinnacle in Stadium Stampede, and that occurred in TIAA Bank Field, the home of the Jags. And yes, there was an Urban Meyer cameo. He supposedly, evidently was hanging out. Again, as we had talked about before we went live. Urban Meyer hanging out at the Jaguar Stadium at nearly midnight on a Sunday night.
Making game plans up for September's opening day.
So now make no mistake, this ended up being a cinematic match. But you had almost 4 mini matches. So obviously you had the pairing of MJF and Jericho. They did a lot of the brawling in the Jaguars team offices and headquarters areas, administrative areas. Pretty cool that Jericho threw MJF through a couple of panes of glass, got some good color on his face. So of course that always makes for a good visual. You had Wardlow and Jake Hager brawling in storage facilities and in walk-in coolers and freezers and shit, which was cool. You had Santana and Ortiz and FTR get into a literal barroom brawl. They made a makeshift bar, turned it into a bit of a nightclub, and they went after each other in a stereotypical barroom brawl. But before they got down to business, they all shared a shot, toasted to each other, and then beat the shit out of each other, which was cool. You had obviously FTR and Tully Blanchard in there, but then the camera panned to the back of the club where the DJ was, and as the DJ came into focus, that DJ was none other than fucking Conan. So there's another cameo for the night. So you had DJ Conan evidently doing his thing, and he helped to neutralize Tully Blanchard. But yeah, lots of broken beer bottles. I think it was Cash Wheeler was literally throwing beer bottles at fucking Santana, and they were breaking, and like you could see pieces of the bottle in his back. So yeah, it was pretty cool. And then last but not least, you had Sammy Guevara and Shawn Spears kind of brawling all around. They had, ironically enough, the chairman of AEW, Shawn Spears, just so happened to find the area where they had all of the excess seating for the stadium. And so obviously he hung out in there, had a bunch of steel folding chairs, blah, blah, blah. It all ended up.
You actually mean Shawn Spears' dressing room.
Sure. Evidently. So obviously a lot of craziness was going on. They did eventually make their way back into Daly's place, and the finish of the match ended up with Shawn Spears eating the pin for Sammy Guevara. Imagine that, right? Now I did find this to be somewhat fulfilling in that if you guys think back to the last major match that these guys had, where, the blood and guts match, where it was actually Sammy Guevara that called off the match, that said, "Hey, we surrender, we're done." So the loss was on him, if you want to look at it that way. Them allowing Sammy to pick up the pin over Shawn Spears kind of brings it back full circle. It makes it makes for good storytelling.
Yeah, but wouldn't you have had him pin MJF, since MJF was the guy who forced him to call quits? Whereas you had
because he was getting his shit kicked by Jericho.
Shawn Spears, out of all those guys in the fucking match, Shawn fucking Spears gets pinned because that's what they think about Shawn Spears.
Unfortunately.
Perfect time.
Yeah.
Perfect time.
But yeah, in any event, this match was it was pretty fun for what it was. I mean, it was a fight. It was good. Pretty solid ending to the pay-per-view. And Guevara actually did pin Spears with the 630 senton. I'm a mark for that move. I love when anybody can pull off a 630 senton. So of course I thought it was cool. All in all, very, very, very solid show. Outside of the finish to the Cody match, I really didn't have too much to complain about, other than the way that the finish happened in the three-way. Yes, the having the schmaz finish is lazy booking, and yes, it is a crutch. And yes, I really wish that Tony, if you're watching, buddy, please just give us a little bit less of that. Thanks.
You give us less of that, we'll give you more sugar boogers.
Well, thank you, Sin City Steve, for that.
Evidently, Matt Michaels is the plug for that shit. I don't know.
Please drink some water, man. Drink some water. That was a lot to take in there. So let's jump over to some really good fun stuff, right? WWE Raw. How about that? Talk about that. Matt Michaels, what do you think?
So the big thing that we're seeing is the Kofi and Drew, who's going to face Lashley, number one contenders match that, of course, Lashley fucking interferes in. Speaking of smazes and, just complete bullshit again. At least this was on Raw, where it wasn't the pay-per-view. But, the fact of the matter is that we have to see this match again next week now because of this. So, it is what it is. My guess is Lashley faces either Drew McIntyre or Kofi Kingston at the pay-per-view. Just, stop with this bullshit. Then, the other thing that was kind of the big setup was Charlotte Flair beating Asuka. Very interesting. CBS and their kind of retelling of what went on the review of Raw made this point. Nearly 50 of Asuka's 100 most recent matches were either against or teaming with Charlotte Flair. So if you guys just haven't got enough of Charlotte Flair and Asuka, don't worry. I'm sure that they'll probably in some way come across each other's paths very soon. Right. Which means we got Nikki Cross beating Rhea Ripley by 2 minutes in the clock running out because, yeah, why not? I mean,
right.
Sure. And most likely we'll see now Charlotte wrestle Nikki Cross in trying to beat her in less than the 2 minutes. Just set up Charlotte versus Rhea. Come on. Stop it.
I'm thinking, with that whole Rhea match, so she looked shocked or upset that she didn't pin her in that 2 minutes. And I wish she would have, I guess that would have just been an ultimate heel move, but I thought she should have just not cared that she didn't pin her because she was beating on her, was stepping on her, just pounding on her. And I think that would have been, hey, it's not even about the pin, which is the fact that I'm just showing how dominant I am. I don't think she should have necessarily been shocked that she didn't pin her versus just showing she's dominant over. That's all I'm saying.
It's hard to say because honestly, she could have been shocked that the time was, ran out that quick. That 2 minutes in reality is a short period of time. Charlotte's music hit and, it just kind of, I don't know. It was clunky. Clunky, sure. Especially too, when you have Nikki, who's only been used recently since she came back on the, whatever the smaller programs are out of the 92 hours of wrestling they produce. So, listen, Nikki Cross gets a win. I got a feeling that she wrestles Charlotte here. And if she gets a win over Charlotte in the same manner, then maybe Nikki thinks she's bigger than she really is. And we see Nikki Cross maybe trying to get championship matches or something. I fucking don't know. Just,
it's not like Nikki is a bad wrestler in any way. She can hold her own. It's that, I guess in this mix, it looks a little odd, but she can definitely, run with the best of them.
Nikki's not the problem. The problem is what are they doing with her? That's
right. No, I get that. Yeah.
That's sure. All it is. So we'll see. Again, the frustration is if you're going to have Charlotte versus Rhea, just fucking set it up. Sheamus, and can we just get rid of Humberto? Can we just, or just, if you're going to, you know what? Use him as make him like Sammy Guevara. Like just rip off everything Sammy does right now and just give it to him. Why not? And that's about it. I mean, they're really. Oh, the one thing though. So apparently, Shayna Baszler got pissed at Reggie for fucking up their match, which is funny because I guess Lily went away. So no voodoo now. Shayna just has a guy outside the ring, just break him up already. Break him up. Yeah, I don't know. Steve, you got anything else on Raw?
3 hours of my life I can never have back yet again.
Oh, speaking of not having your life back again, please, Cedric Alexander, his voice is so fucking annoying.
Oh my God.
Don't ever have him cut a promo again. And Steve, I always say, well, trade these guys to I have a different thought here. Apollo and Cedric, we trade them to ROH for Angelina Love's silicones. It's a 2-on-2 swap. I think it would just be a better show.
Wow.
They get no love, man. They get no love. All right. Fine. Let's jump over then to SmackDown. Let's see who gets some love over there and see what's going on. What's your big take on that?
Street Profits Usos. That was great. I mean,
absolutely.
The hype up was good in terms of the first about 10 minutes roughly, and then about a 20 or so minute time frame of a match. Very good. Dirty Dogs have been great. It's been nice to see them working. The only thing that why the fuck why did that have to be the main event? Why is Dominic able to withstand Bobby Roode and Dolph Ziggler? Why? And did Dominic, was he the one who took out Ray? It's the only thing that would make sense to me on why you fucking do that, is that Dominic's going to do all these kind of things that no one really sees that are jackass moves because he thinks he's, better than Dad, but probably not. So don't hold your breath. Seth. Oh my God.
Real quick, Matt. One thing that I just have to put out there. I'm just hoping and praying that you're completely spot on with what you just said there, because I don't know if anyone has thought about this, but WWE's next pay-per-view is on Father's Day. What if you have Dominic actually turn on his father and lay him out on Father's Day?
Now, would that be awesome if that booking led to that? You would finally be like, you guys done something right over there on that organization. Good job.
I would completely.
Yeah.
So we know you watch the show, so please.
Come on, Bruce.
Right.
Come on, Bruce.
Come on, man.
Seth blaming Cesaro and then the fans for what Seth had to do to Cesaro was fucking great. Seth is fucking it's incredible. He is nailing everything. And it was his birthday. Happy birthday, Seth. Boy, man, people could learn about how you can do something with just using an intention to your words and setting something up one way and then just laying into it totally different. It was beautiful to see. Michael Cole going into the break. The pride of Nigeria, Apollo Crews. Born in Sacramento, raised in Georgia. So, but then after watching the match, then I have to go, wait. Aziz is apparently Apollo's longtime childhood friend. And on top of that, they use the word Nigeria or Nigerian about 50 times. What is that crap? Fuck this. Stop it. Scrap this. Kill it. Because after that match ended, by the way, we get to see Kevin versus Apollo again now that Aziz has been banned, because, the thing you want to tell a guy writhing around, grabbing his neck while he's backstage is, oh, by the way, you'll get him again, and Aziz is banned. And then Kevin just kind of looks like, yeah, and then lays back down holding his fucking, come on. It's fucking ridiculous. But we see Roman and Jay talking after that match, and that is what it is about. That is storytelling. That was fucking great. The two of them just sitting there and Roman having a conversation with Jay about, are you sure that that's what you want? Is your brother? Brilliant. Brilliant. Mm-hmm. And guess what? They didn't have to say that he was Samoan once. Mm-hmm. So, just calling yourself and claiming heritage. Listen, The reason it works for those guys is because that is their heritage and family in the business. All right. There's a long line, and we know where the WWE wants that line to finally get to. I don't know of another Nigerian table that we can have Apollo Crews go to, have something come of this. It's ridiculous. Drop that shit. And then Rick Elias Boogs is exactly what I put down here. How quick will this get on? And then I have a problem with Pat McAfee. Okay? Because McAfee, who is a great heel, apparently doesn't know if he's heel or face, because when Shinsuke comes out, he's now popping for Shinsuke. Right. It's making no sense, especially because then he's trying to then put Gable over, but he's still putting Shinsuke over. All right, if he's going to be a heel, make him a heel. But the one thing he does say after Shinsuke Boogs comes out and Shinsuke gets the crown back from Corbin with the help of Boogs, so Michael Cole says Corbin's livid, and Pat McAfee says so is Elias, but that has nothing to do with the majesty and majesticness of what we're seeing right now. He fucking called out Boogs for stealing Elias's gimmick. That was so subtle, and it took a lot of balls or a lot of good fucking Bruce Pritchard fucking, on the mic backstage going, say Elias, say Elias, say Elias, call it out. So, I mean, that was worth it. Pat McAfee can be really fucking good. And that's the difference between the idea of taking someone like Mark Henry and signing him for big money, I'm assuming, to be on your 1 hour show on a Friday night after SmackDown, whatever it is that show's going to air. And a guy like Pat McAfee, he's worth it. The guy's worth it. Then the final question I have is Corey Graves. Does he walk when Carmella is released?
Good question. Good question. All right. Are you good, Sin City? You don't want to add nothing to any of that, or just want to make sure before we?
I thought that again, Bayley being on commentary during the Bianca Belair and Carmella match actually made that match tolerable. And that's due to no fault of Bianca Belair. Bianca Belair is the future of that division. That match without Bayley on commentary, could have been a lot worse than what it was.
Steve, but you got to understand that Bianca Belair is so good and so effortless that in her spare time, she picks up trash and throws it out, especially New Jersey trash.
Oh man.
Yeah, it just keeps going.
It just keeps going. Other than that, I mean, you did an amazing job. I think that the layers to the Jimmy, Jay, and Roman storyline, I think that superb work by all guys involved. Obviously, that Heyman's got his mitts in that, and he's probably the one that's creating most of it. SmackDown is all about the bloodline at this point. No offense to anyone else on the show, but it's unbelievable to me just how much head and shoulders above everyone else on that roster. Those three are doing right now with their storytelling.
I can't wait to see how well they are presented in a live audience.
Yeah.
Are they going to accept it, which we've all been enjoying and should be doing just that, or are they just going to shit on it and trying to get themselves over back again when they're live audience? That's my only concern. We know that Roman and the fans, it hasn't been a great relationship, and we haven't really seen since he's been in this role how they will react. Now we see on the screens that they're doing the appropriate things, but you just don't know, and that's what always bothers me about fucking fans is they mess up the way things are sometimes. It makes it show not even enjoyable, especially when you're live, there. And, I don't know. I'm just hoping that it stays that well in front of a live audience because it's really good stuff.
I think that if nothing else, the Roman's cadence in which he's delivering his promos now, it doesn't lend well to getting a babyface reaction. So the way that he would cut promos previously, obviously it was designed to elicit more of a reaction from people. But I think that with his overall cadence, the way that he delivers his lines, and the tone of voice that he uses, I think that it's going to translate extremely well. Obviously you're going to have those people that are going to cheer for him. But I definitely think that those people will be in the minority of the crowd. I think that he will definitely be a resounding boo from most of the people.
Here's the solution. Never have him talk in the ring.
Yeah.
Just have all his stuff done backstage.
Pre-tapes.
Never have him talk in the ring.
Yeah. That's actually a really good point too.
Yeah. That's the easiest way to do it. You eliminate any possibility of them chanting stuff during because the problem too is his cadence lends for pauses in which the fans will chant shit.
Right.
That's one of the most annoying things in wrestling.
Yeah.
What?
Right. All right, man. Good stuff, guys. So just right quick, since City, because you weren't here last week, I just wanted to get your thoughts. First off, for everyone listening, thanks for listening. We're going to mention something right quick on New Japan. We got something major to talk about in 3 counts. So you want to make sure if you're going to stay with us live, or we're going to be doing that in just a moment for our 3 count, or if you're listening to this on a podcast, it releases Tuesday. We're going to talk about this whole thing with WWE and New Japan. So don't worry about that. That's one of the big topics we can't ignore, but that's not going to be a part of wrestling talk. The question I want to ask you right quick, Steve, though, is you weren't here for last week. Will Ospreay, what is your take on, this that happened, and what do you foresee this going from this point?
Well, so Ospreay had a neck injury, and he had to forfeit the New Japan, the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship, which obviously he's very upset about it. And just to correct something that was said earlier, Matt Michaels was just fucking with you, by the way. So I wasn't sure if you caught on with that, but Will Ospreay.
No, I'm being serious. I have just seen within the last 2 hours that there's a potential that Ospreay, White, and Finlay are all walking out on the company. There is legitimate heat. There is legitimate heat between Ospreay and the Office, apparently. And this
I have heard that.
I have heard that there's heat, but I hadn't heard that they had walked out, and I hadn't seen anything on any news sites or anything of that nature. But that's not to say that still might not happen. The one thing that
it could be also not actually happening, but that's, we'll see. I mean, we're not going to know for the next,
Yeah, most definitely. So to answer your question, I think that the way that everything happened, New Japan has had a string of issues since they changed over the championship belt. If you'll remember, they put the title on Kota Ibushi right from the beginning,
right?
And they consolidated the the world champ or the IWGP Heavyweight Championship and the Intercontinental Championship, and consolidated those together and made the World Heavyweight Championship. Since that's happened, I mean, we've had more forfeitures than matches resulting in a championship change. I think that's something that, you can call it a cursed title, you can call it whatever you want, but it's almost like as if the brand new championship is snake bitten right from the beginning. Now, you do have a situation where it has been announced that the New Japan will be crowning a new IWGP World Heavyweight Champion at Dominion, which will occur on June 6th at Osaka-jo Hall. And the two men competing for the championship will be Kazuchika Okada going against Shingo Takagi. And the last time that these guys wrestled, they put on an instant classic. So I think that this match will be, I don't want to say that it's going to, pick up where the other one left off, or that it's going to be any better than that last one, because it is really difficult to capture lightning in a bottle twice. But I think that these guys have the potential to do that. And I think that they have the potential to do this title justice. Everything's touch and go right now. Obviously they had their COVID outbreak. They had a lot of people that were off the shows as a result of that. And all sorts of travel restrictions, new phases of lockdown, all that kind of craziness going on in Japan right now. So we'll see how things kind of unfold. Unfortunately, New Japan is just sort of in a holding pattern. And really, I think that we're going to see the ripple effects to that continuing to occur in companies like AEW and in Impact. We've already discussed those companies working together. So, we've long speculated that the storyline with Kenny Omega isn't going to reach its conclusion until he's captured the IWGP Championship as well. So obviously that can't happen until someone has the championship. Right. Personally, I think that it's a no-brainer at this point. You put the title on Okada, and then you resume Omega versus Okada. They had an amazing string of matches. Some of the highest rated matches in our time. And, again, talking about capturing lightning in a bottle, you go that route with them. And do you put the title on Okada strictly to act as a transitional champion to get that title to Omega? We'll see.
Thank you much, man. Everyone, again, thanks for listening. 3 count. If you're watching, you definitely want to, again, just stay tuned for that. We're going to talk about the entire New Japan and WWE, this news that broke earlier during the week. So we're going to talk about that. Also, 3 ways that Brock Lesnar can return to WWE. We're just kind of discuss that. And
I thought we were going to be talking about 3 ways. So I'm glad you said Brock Lesnar.
And then lastly, the potential issue of for WWE SummerSlam to not happen in Vegas as it was planned, and we're going to talk about that. That's all going to be a part of 3 count. If you're listening to the podcast, make sure you download it, Tuesday's episode, so you can get that. But if you're watching us live, you're going to get that in just a few minutes, all right? So until then, thank you for listening to Wrestling Talk,